Hello and welcome to CTV News Across Canada for Friday, June 20th. We've got the top local stories from coast to coast, stories that affect you and the country. Thanks for joining us.
The screech of tires and screams were the first noises witness Julius Beaumartin says he heard.
You don't expect those sounds on the street like this. It's a school zone. So you're like, why is this happening?
The sounds came from an alleged car theft, and the entire thing was caught on camera. It happened on Palm Avenue near St. Remy Street around 1:10 Monday afternoon. Police say the man in the safety vest is a delivery driver, adding that a man and woman tried to steal his vehicle while he was dropping off a package.
The delivery man was aware of the thief, so he tried to intervene and restrain the woman. The suspect fled with the car. When he fled, he injured the delivery man.
Police say 29-year-old Francis Lavoie was found under the St. Henry Bridge about an hour after the event. He was arrested and appeared in court Tuesday. Lavoie has been charged with multiple offenses, including hit and run causing injury, dangerous driving, and motor vehicle theft.
The woman is a 26-year-old woman. She was released on side and she will appear in court in August of this year.
In the chaos, a parked car was also hit. The vehicle belongs to Beaumartin, who says he tried to intervene to protect his car he bought a month ago.
I watched it happen.
Damage to the car's front headlight and tire marks on the street are the only reminders from the event that happened days ago in front of this elementary school when children were in class. Residents like Beaumartin say it could have been much worse.
I mean, he could have just floored it, went through the fence if there were kids out. Hit anybody.
After this incident, police are advising the public to never leave a car running, even if it's just a quick stop. Olivia O'Malley, CTV News.
Luxury clothing, diamond-encrusted jewelry and watches and art, all bought with stolen credit and debit cards by suspects who police say posed as taxi drivers.
We're alleging these fraudsters scammed Toronto taxi customers out of over $500,000 in a 10-month time frame.
Toronto police launched Project Fair last July and discovered a criminal network that they say defrauded more than 300 victims. Investigators say the suspects would use vehicles that were modified to look like licensed taxis with signs like this one, or vehicles that once were cabs. And they would only accept debit or credit when it was time to pay the fare. That's when police say the suspects would discreetly swap the victims' credit and debit cards.
Sometimes the POS machine won't work. They'll then have their card in the machine and the taxi driver will say, "Let me try." And then they'll put in the card, the PIN number, or they'll do something like that where they've got control of that card.
The stolen cards and PINs then passed on to an accomplice.
To withdraw funds from ATMs, deposit fraudulent checks to artificially inflate account balances, and make high-value purchases.
Police say the bogus taxi drivers would target busy areas like theaters and the entertainment district. Some of the victims were defrauded of thousands of dollars.
We had 3 occurrences where there were over $60,000 taken in a very short period of time, overnight, often before the victim would even wake up in the morning.
In May, police executed 3 search warrants and seized handheld debit and credit terminals and hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of luxury items.
We believe that they were purchasing it for themselves, for trophies.
So far, police have arrested 11 suspects who are facing a combined 108 charges. These 2 suspects remain at large. Police are trying to identify them, along with this woman, who is a person of interest, seen with one of the outstanding suspects at an ATM.
She's not a suspect. She's merely someone who we hope can help us.
Investigators say the victims are not on the hook and have been made whole by their financial institutions. They believe there are more victims who haven't come forward. Now, in the wake of this investigation, police are urging taxi customers to be vigilant, reminding them that legitimate operators will not refuse cash in, will not ask you to hand over your debit or credit card and provide your PIN.
After almost 2 years of waiting on survey results, we now know how Albertans feel about an independent pension plan. They're not interested. A 2023 public survey shows 63% of respondents were opposed to an APP. Only 10% were in favor.
It's good to know there's a little bit of common sense out there.
Economists have been begging the province to reconsider the consideration since it was first brought up.
We think that taking the Albertans out of the CPP is going to provide us with benefits at least as good as what we have now with the same tax rates that we have now. She's wrong.
And the survey results show just how controversial the plan would be. 394 pages of responses include comments like, "This idea is completely insane, and I will leave this broken province if you touch my pension." Many just keep it simple.
We weren't surprised at all, Tim. We know that CARP members in Alberta and seniors in general value the CPP. The province should really let this one die a natural death.
10% means it's an idea on the political fringe.
But some still speculate that fringe idea won't be politically damaging. One expert says those who don't like the policy won't remember it come voting time, and those who do will vote blue regardless.
It's kind of red meat to the activist minority of the UCP base, allowing them to be very geared up for election time, for campaigning time.
And despite the lack of interest from survey respondents, the province won't be giving up on the APP quite yet. A statement from the Finance Ministry says public opinion may be shifting, but we will continue to engage with Albertans on this topic. It adds the province won't replace the CPP unless Albertans approve it in a referendum. It's still unclear what Alberta would be entitled to take from the CPP, but the province and federal government have very different numbers.
The final day of spring was a wet one. Tomorrow marks the start of summer, and with kids out of school soon, travel will be ramping up.
As bad as they are now, they're likely to get worse.
This former chief medical officer of health predicts traveling Albertans will also mean traveling measles. He says areas that haven't been hit as hard may start seeing new cases.
You're going to have baseball tournaments, you're going to have summer camps, you're going to have families getting together with people from all across the prairies.
With 12 new cases reported today, Alberta is just 4 shy of 1,000 since March. The Edmonton zone has been faring best, with no new cases reported since early May, and a total of 6 so far.
I prefer perhaps guarded optimism. I just don't want to frame this as a comparison.
Edmonton's medical officer of health acknowledged cities like Edmonton and Calgary have higher vaccination rates than rural regions. Vaccination rates also vary within communities. Last year, the Edmonton neighborhood with the highest vaccine uptake for 2-year-olds was Edmonton-Rutherford at 81%. The neighborhood with the lowest vaccine uptake for 2-year-olds was Edmonton-Eastwood at 56%. The Edmonton average for this age, 72%.
We strive for having about 95% coverage of immunization because at that number, measles is less likely to propagate within population. It's less likely to pass from person to person.
Dr. Chris Sikora said the public's willingness to call HealthLink and follow advice has helped contain the Edmonton cases. He says all zones are working together to try and stamp out the outbreak. Nicole Weisberg, CTV News, Edmonton.
It's another plea for help to try to figure out what happened to 4-year-old Jack and 6-year-old Lily Sullivan.
Investigators are looking at every avenue, and we're using every tool possible. And this is simply another avenue that could shed some more light or information to come forward.
That avenue is the RCMP asking Nova Scotia's Department of Justice to add the children's disappearance to the province's rewards program, offering up to $150,000 for information to figure out what happened.
I can't speculate as to the nature of information that may either lead to the solving of this case or to a reward, and I wouldn't want to discourage anybody from reaching out. We want anybody who has any information, and no matter how small they think it is, to reach out.
It's now been almost 7 weeks since the Sullivan children went missing from their family's home in Lansdowne Station, Nova Scotia, a tragedy gripping the county, province, and beyond.
I certainly don't remember in my years seeing 2 young kids going missing like this and nothing coming out of it yet.
Lily is 4 feet tall and 60 pounds and believed to be wearing a pink Barbie top with rubber boots and a cream-colored backpack with strawberry print. Jack is 3'6", weighing 40 pounds. Officials believe he was wearing a pull-up diaper, black Under Armour jogging pants, and blue rubber boots with a dinosaur print. Since their May 2nd disappearance, police have received 508 tips and interviewed 56 people. All have cooperated with police. Former OPP Commissioner and CTV Public Safety Analyst Chris Lewis says the rewards program is a risk-free step for the police.
What tells me is, number one, that there is a bit of a stalemate somehow in their investigation in all likelihood, and they're looking to get more conversation going. Potentially what they want is a tip that will lead them to whoever is responsible for this.
And Chris Lewis, who you just heard from at the end of the story, says at the end of the day, someone out there knows something about what happened in this horrific case. Hundreds of people, dogs, drones, and helicopters were involved in extensive searches. The last one was June 1st. RCMP again saying further searches will be dictated by information that comes forward. The province's justice minister says she's hopeful including this case in the rewards program will help bring it to a close.
This is what success looks like.
The Vancouver Police Department keeps touting its success around an initiative on the downtown east side, Task Force Barrage. Since February, extra officers have been deployed to target organized crime, violent offenders, and street disorder.
Violent crimes down and other sorts of crime, property crime, they all have trended downwards.
It's come with staunch support from the mayor.
This is a no-brainer. It makes absolute sense.
While it may be obvious to Ken Sim, there have been questions about how the task force came to be and who approved it.
It's clearly a backroom decision that's been highly politicized that doesn't pass the transparency test.
In February, after the city's budget was finalized, Mayor Ken Sim announced the $5 million plan. According to the province's Police Act, the police board is required to approve any changes to the budget. That never happened. The board says it learned about Barrage through the media.
That was a notification that we found out during the media announcement. And I think that what transpired was that there was a miscommunication and perhaps some missteps with regards to process.
A legislated process the board says it's now trying to correct.
Those particular missteps have been rectified and we've had clarity. And that was determined by the Finance Committee that there is a need for sharpening of that particular process, which will be discussed at our governance committee.
When asked whether it's a breach of the Police Act, the board chair didn't believe so. CTV News asked the mayor in May how this multi-million-dollar project came to be. He wouldn't answer.
I can't comment on what people knew and didn't know. You're asking me to comment on what 6 other individuals knew. I'm not in their mind.
While Ken Sim continues to praise the plan, it leads to questions as to why he would sidestep an oversight body whose role it is to be accountable to the public. Isabella Zavarisi, CTV News, Vancouver.
We thought it would have melted. I did lose my wedding rings, but they found that ring. That was really significant.
Erin Sleva Banville and her husband lost nearly everything in the devastating May wildfire. So when a volunteer cleanup crew found a ring in the rubble of their home, she said it was a miracle. But even more than that, the team's hard work made all the difference.
You can see what they did. It was a tremendous savior to us.
Christian Aid Ministries Canada showed up for the couple and their neighbors without even being asked. The nonprofit organization has 4 rapid response teams across the country, pressed into service where they are needed.
It's a very small thing we could do to help them on to the next step, you know, and give some hope and encouragement in their life.
And help the Wendigo Road residents they did. This was the scene back in May, just after the fire ripped through the community. And here it is this week. As Brad Wood says, the rapid response team cleared away hundreds of pounds of scrap.
It's been an insurmountable task, and the gratitude by the community is just unbelievable for what they've done.
Wood says they expected more help from the RM of Lac Dubonnet, and on top of losing everything, felt neglected before the ministry stepped in.
I felt that we were left out by this, and we were just very fortunate for the ministry's help.
Lauren Schinkel, Reeve for the RM of Lac Dubonnet, said the RM is applying for money for recovery. The RM has hired a contractor to remove hundreds of burnt trees, but it will all take time.
There's all of these moving parts here, and we just ask for some patience, too, from the residents.
He said insurance companies advised the RM to take a step back in the immediate remediation based on secondary health risks that may need special care.
This was purely an environmental issue where there was information received from the insurance companies who have specialists that need to deal with this type of a remediation.
Sleva Banville said now it feels like they are a community again.
The neighbors have really rallied, and we've all kind of come together, and it will be a new beginning for everybody.
Residents say they are waiting on insurance claims, permits to rebuild, and of course, more trees to be cleared. They say hydro is restored, but they're still working in the area.
Did cleanup crews find any other treasures?
Well, Marilee, Lavina Harding, another one of the residents I spoke with, told me she's incredibly grateful that she still has her coin collection. She shared these photos with me. Take a look. This is what's left of them, intact, but still a little bit scorched. Lavina told me it's the coin's sentimental rather than financial value that's important to her. She planned to pass her collection down to her kids. And although the coins don't shine anymore, this is still a bright light for her family in all of this destruction.
This is our trailer hitch that we would tow the Royal Cargo trailer.
That trailer gone, stolen sometime last week from the baseline in Merivale area in Ottawa's West End. Along with it, a large model of the Ark of the Covenant and 2 angel statues that were inside.
Thankfully, we had taken the pilgrim statue of Our Lady of the Cape out of the trailer. But the Ark and the angels are irreplaceable because they were made in 1947 for the historic procession that went from Canada's National Marian Shrine to Lansdowne Park. It was historic in that basically the world came to Ottawa to pray for peace. It was 2 years after World War II had ended. And of course, peace was on everybody's mind, just as it is these days.
Dennis Gerard is the director of the Marian Devotional Movement. Along with his wife, he travels with the religious artifacts across Canada, the U.S., and beyond.
There are so many prayers inside of that ark. There are people that are suffering in this world. They're suffering a lot. And if you have this trailer, if you have this ark, just read those prayer intentions. Start reading them and see what happens to your heart.
The artifacts were also on stage when Pope Francis visited Canada in 2022. The Gerards have filed a police report and believe whoever stole the trailer didn't know what was inside.
We desperately would love to see it returned. No questions asked, just even drop that Ark and Angels somewhere so that we can continue that work of bringing the Ark of the Angels and carrying Our Lady to many more souls throughout Canada and the United States in the coming years.
Ottawa police say they're investigating. Anyone with information is asked to contact them.
The kickoff to summer camp is just a couple weeks away, and excitement is in the air at the Waterloo Memorial Rec Complex.
There's a lot of excitement. There's also, some uncertainty.
Uncertainty over potential measles exposures. But the City of Waterloo says preparations are already underway.
Our initial efforts are focused sort of twofold. One is really focused on providing communication out to our families and campers around measles prevention. And the other one is sharing an update on some of the protocols.
Those protocols include isolating any campers or staff that may be at risk if there is an exposure. The isolation period will last 21 days, or until they provide proof they received 2 doses of the measles vaccine.
This isn't new messaging. What this really is continuation of messaging that we've done since the start of kind of the provincial outbreak and with our local partners, including schools.
Schools like Beechwood Brainery, a private school centered around students with disabilities that also offers day camp in the summer.
We have heightened our protocols and our training around signs and symptoms of outbreaks.
Like other camps in the region, Beechwood Brainery plans to work with the local public health unit to make sure people are protected and the show can go on.
The reason we got the messaging out now is to prepare people so that they can get their vaccines ahead of time going to camp or have their vaccine records ready so that if we do find out there's an exposure, we can quickly find out who is at risk and who isn't and keep that camp running.
And if there is a measles case at camp,
we would set up a clinic as soon as possible in order to any campers that needed it, if their parents consented, would be able to get that vaccine in a short period to allow the camp to continue.
And while camps say they're hopeful for a healthy summer, they appreciate the resources, even as they focus on having fun.
I think we'll be okay. It's not something that we worry about, but we are prepared for.
The message from Regional Public Health comes at a time where cases seem to be slowing down, but officials say it's too early to tell if we've passed the peak. We'll need to wait a few weeks to find that out.
5 o'clock this morning, I heard a bang, and I looked out the kitchen window and I saw the side of the garage was fully engulfed.
That fire along Muskoka Beach Road in Gravenhurst then spread to the homes on each side of the garage. This man, who lives alone, did not want to be identified, but told us the fire woke him up.
I saw flames and the heat coming through the kitchen window. So I'm just glad that everyone got out all right.
The man says he lives alone in the house and 5 people live in his neighbor's home. No injuries reported by fire or police, who are now leading the investigation.
There's an investigation ongoing. It's a little bit complicated. It seems the fire originated in the detached garage of one of the residences. And so establishing exactly what caused the fire, what led up to that, seems it's going to be a little time consuming.
Police say there were several combustibles inside the garage. Almost 3 dozen firefighters responded to the call. The fires were extinguished by late morning.
So although we're not necessarily considering it suspicious at this stage, there are some unknowns.
Several OPP departments are involved in the investigation, including forensics, that will help collect evidence and figure things out. As for the homeowner, he's just happy everyone is okay.
Yeah, it's hard to see, but you know what? At least I wasn't in it, so that's a good thing.
Now that police are leading the investigation, they're asking anyone who may have been driving by the fires this morning or any nearby homeowners with video surveillance to come forward. Rob Cooper, CTV News, Gravenhurst.
The province is making the sudden decision to flout federal regulations and fire up coal plants across the province. In a memo to Sask Power employees on Wednesday, Minister Jeremy Harrison says coal plants will be extended beyond their life cycle until nuclear power can be generated.
Why have all your eggs in the same basket? I think they need to continue on with coal with carbon capture.
In 2016, the federal government passed regulations requiring all coal-fired power plants to be closed down after 50 years of use or by 2030. Until Wednesday, the province said it would comply with those rules. But now, as the province relies on more coal in light of a changing federal rhetoric under new Prime Minister Mark Carney, Mo called coal-generated power an opportunity Saskatchewan has for the federal government as he left a media availability Wednesday.
We're going to need more power in the years ahead, and we are, we're going to look at an all of the above approach in the power sources that we have.
Mo couldn't say how the province will accomplish that, or if there's another legal battle in the works given the federal regulations. CTV contacted Environment Canada but did not receive a response. But in Coronach, less than 10 kilometers away from the Poplar River Power Station, the news of years more coal power is going over well.
We're looking at 60+% of our population potentially leaving town. And so we took that personally. They are committed to net zero, but it's going to take time to get there. You just don't decide we're going to get there tomorrow.
In his memo, Harrison says renewable energy sources are no substitute for baseload power generation. Work will begin with restoring Boundary Dam 4 near Estevan. And despite this pivot back to coal, Harrison says the province is committed to its goal of having a net zero power grid by 2050. Keenan Sorakan, CTV News, Saskatoon.